AJ Reisig here, and today we're going to take a look at Antergos. If you're not familiar with this distribution, it is based on Arch. Yeah, I know that's different from what I usually look at. I usually look at the Ubuntu based distributions, but always got to expand your horizons and try new things. So we're going to take a look at that today, and I'm going to start this out a little bit differently in that I'm going to go through the installer on in VirtualBox. Hopefully it works out all right running it through VirtualBox. Now I have already installed this on another hard drive so that I can do my review of the desktop on a a non-virtual machine on a real piece of hardware, because a lot of times distributions will act all weird and whatnot inside of a virtual box and then work perfectly fine once you get it on a real piece of hardware. So I'm going to do an installation in VirtualBox just so you can see this installer, because I think it's pretty neat how it's set up, and I'd like you to get to take a look at it, and then I'll switch over to the real installation and continue the review from there. So let me reach over here and fire up VirtualBox, and we'll pull it over from that screen there. Boom. All right. And here's what you'll see from the start. When you begin your installation. We're going to start Antergos live and ignore the VirtualBox messages. So we'll allow it to begin its installation here. Okay, after your live installer loads up, this is the screen that you're left with. You can see it is a Gnome desktop, and right here you've got a triad option, a command line installer, and then a graphical installer. Now, older versions of Antergos, the graphical installer left a lot to be desired. It was neat looking and everything, but it had a tendency to crash and burn on you. I'm happy to say that that isn't a problem anymore. So we're going to walk through the graphical installer, and I've got to say this is one of the best installers I have seen, especially now that they've got the bugs worked out. It's nice looking, it's easy to understand, easy to work with. Got some options there, so let me like you see here, you get to do a language selection for best results, have at least 4 gigs, plugged in the power source, connect to the internet. Boom, we got all that taken care of. Select your location. I am English US. Move on to the next category. America, New York. Yep. Keyboard layout, yep, that's correct for me. Alright, once you get to this screen, you get to pick which desktop environment you want to run, which is, pretty cool there. Whereas, whether you're on Ubuntu, Linux, Mint, pick your distribution, you need a different ISO depending on which desktop environment you want to install. Not here. One ISO, it installs all these different ones. Just pick what you want. This base gives you a base Arch installation. Huge time saver if you want to install Arch, but you really don't have the time. And part of your traditional Arch user may kind of frown at that, because part of the experience is doing the installation, which is very time consuming, but you do end up learning a lot, not only about Arch and how it works, but also your system, be it a laptop, desktop, whatever. You learn a lot about that system while you're doing this installation, and you kind of miss out on that. But at the same time, I've installed Arch once, and there's real good instructions out there on how to do it. They've got a great wiki, but it's very time consuming. I don't have the time to do another installation. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I'm burning the candle at both ends as it is. So I really don't have the time to go through that again. Now, this would be a big time saver. Now, I will agree on the point that part of the experience and part of learning is doing that installation. But like I said, I simply don't have the time to do it again. So this is a good way to get that base installation in quickly. We've got the Cinnamon desktop, which is actually what I'm going to be installing here. Gnome, and their Gnome packages are 3.12. So very up to date on the Gnome packages. KDE, also up to date. Mate, OpenBox, and XFCE. All these desktop packages are up to date with the latest and greatest. Basically, if it's out of beta, they've got that desktop package here. But we're going to do Cinnamon, so let me back up to Cinnamon, move on to the next page here. And now here's another cool feature, and you know why more installers don't give you this. I don't get it. You can pick different features of what you want and don't want installed. So like I want to have the Arch user repositories available. My desktop, I don't have any Bluetooth devices hooked to it, so I don't care about Bluetooth support, so I'm going to leave that off. Extra fonts, yep. LibreOffice, oh yeah. Printing support, yeah. Proprietary software, yeah. Uncomplicated firewall, on. I mean, yeah, there's not a ton of options right here, but it's cool that they've set you up with different options on stuff you want to install from the get-go. Why more distributions don't do something like this, I don't know. Yes, uncomplicated firewall will be inside Arch user. Yes. Okay, and just like on a lot of distributions, you can choose where partitions and all that kind of stuff, or you can do the erase disk and install Antergos. Yes, this will override everything on the virtual disk that has nothing on it. Do I really want to proceed? Yes, I do. Okay. So, and we'll call this send. All right. And just like just like on a lot of distributions, you can log in automatically or require the password, however you want to do it. And boom, we're off, we're installing. And that's pretty much it. You just like any other distribution, you let it run its course, do its install, and like I said, that's all she wrote. All right, so here we are on our Antergos installation. This is the on the real hard drive, not the virtual box. Like I said earlier, a lot of times VirtualBox, it acts kind of weird when you're trying to run a distribution on there. So it's always best to really do a true installation so you can get a feel for the distribution. If you're familiar with Cinnamon, you'll probably recognize this as a typical Cinnamon installation or Cinnamon desktop, although they've got the panel on top instead of bottom. Usually you see it on the bottom by default. And for icons, looks like the Mocha icons, which are, it's a decent flat icon theme. And right here we've got, that's our default desktop background, and not a huge selection of backgrounds that are included, but a decent selection. I'll change it to something a little more my taste. Since I'm into antique stuff, let's go with the old clock. Um, I think probably the first thing I'd like to do is do a walkthrough of what applications are included in this distribution. So let's start with that. All right. We got 7-zip for zipping and unzipping files, an archive manager calculator, disk manager, gedit. Always like seeing gedit installed by default. Um, Looks like it identified that I had a HP computer attached and have an HP device manager, Nemo file manager. Um, I'll go ahead and open up Nemo. If you're not familiar with Nemo, very nice file manager. Um, there's multiple views that you can take. Um, the icon style list, details, all that kind of stuff. Um, Make new folders there, and if you look under view, let's see, you can do on the sidebar, you can do places or a tree style, whichever is to your liking. And then of course it's got my favorite feature, dual pane, which is freaking awesome for when you're moving files around from one folder to the next, or you need to compare. Love that feature. Anyway, let's get back to this here over here. Okay, Nemo. Pac-Man XG, that is, you can think of it as their software center. If you go into package management, now here you can go and search for, whatever kind of software it is that you're looking for. You can also search the AUR packages because I selected that during installation. And AUR, for those of you who aren't familiar with Arch, it stands for Arch User Repositories. These are basically it's repositories of community compiled software. So let's just say, for example, the standard Arch repositories don't include, I don't know, let's say it was the cheese webcam application. It's in there, but let's just say it wasn't included. Well, somebody could go and compile it from source to function with an Arch distribution, and then put it on AUR so that other people can use that application. This way, you're not, if there's not a quote unquote official Arch repository for a specific piece of software, you can go and you don't have to go and compile from source. So it's that it's nice, and that the community is helping make sure that everybody's got the software that they want to use, or maybe stuff that's not too popular, but a few people want it. You might find it in the Arch user repositories. But anyway, you can just put in whatever it is that you're looking for. Let's say Firefox web browser. Oh, yeah, let's try and spell correctly. So Firefox, do a search. Boom, there's and it's not just the Firefox itself, but here the different language packs and all that kind of stuff. So it's more than just quote unquote Firefox. But anyway, that's Pac-Man XG. I believe other Arch distributions are starting to use that software center, just because it's nice. We got a screenshot tool, XF Burn, which is a pretty decent DVD burner. Graphics, we got our image viewer, document viewer, and internet, um, Chromium for the default browser. Um, Nothing wrong with that, although it's I would say most distributions you see Firefox as the default browser. Not that I'm complaining. I'm more of a Chromium fan um, than I am a Firefox, so I'm not going to complain about that one. Let's see, we got Empathy, and then transmission for BitTorrent. Empathy, that's a chat service if you're not familiar with it. Office, I guess you probably saw when we were doing the installation that I selected I want LibreOffice. Let's see what version it is. I'm going to say it is most likely the most recent version. Um, Usually they're on top of things as far as getting the latest software. And this is the first time I've opened up, so it might take a little bit. So I'm going to help here about LibreOffice 4.2.4. Yep, that's the most recent version. So very happy with that. And something else I'm curious of. Let me pull down the options view. Yes. One of my gripes with LibreOffice with the Ubuntu distributions is they don't have all of the icon sets that are available for uh, um, LibreOffice. Why? I have no idea. You know, it's not like you're saving some great amount of hard drive space by not including the other icons. Um, and personally, I like this cipher icon set. Um, that's more my liking. And typically on LibreOffice, I go and I set it up with sidebar and get rid of these toolbars up here. Kind of maximizes the your space. Okay, so we got through the Office applications there. Programming, we got some different Qt4 applications. CMake cross-platform build system. Sound and video. Cheese is the default webcam. I added the GUVC view. Wow, I almost can't speak there today. That's just the webcam viewer that I use when I'm working on these videos. And Cheese would have worked, but this is the one that I'm most familiar with since I use it all the time. And the same thing with Simple Screen Recorder. I added that for doing my recordings. Um, we got a Qt testing utility for video testing. Our video player. We already talked about XFern and Xnoise for our music and video collections. We've got our account details, Adobe Flash Player, applets, backgrounds, all of our different tweaking, I guess you could say, for the desktop, that sort of thing. Firewall configuration, fonts, all that kind of stuff. Panel, all the stuff for tweaking things around. Administration, deconf editor, always happy to see that, so that you can get into the settings that you normally can't get into with just your menu setting. Printer manager and settings, terminal, users and group. Let's pull up the system monitor. I'd just like to see what we're doing on memory. Okay, we are pulling down 740, 725, just in that range, megabytes of our RAM. And remember, besides just the desktop itself, I'm running this webcam viewer, and then also my screen recorder. So yeah, it's not a huge amount of memory. I mean, there's some KDE distributions that are running that amount of memory at idle. But it's definitely not a lightweight distribution. Um, I'm sure we'd see something entirely different if we were using one of the other desktop environments. Um, Cinnamon uses a fair amount of resources. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. If you want the nice effects, you're going to have to pay for them somewhere. Anyway, so okay, so we were down here in the administration. We went through all that. We looked at the file manager and all that kind of stuff. Um, Kind of covers, all the features here. Okay, so we got plenty of features. We got lots of good applications. Unfortunately, the downside to this distribution is we have glitches galore. Webcam viewers crashed. My screen recorder crashed. Um, my top panel, I was adding some applets to it. Everything froze and locked up one time. Another time, after adding an applet, everything was out of order. I fixed the order of everything, and when I closed up the edit mode, it went back to the old messed up order. So what's going on with that? I have no idea. And I had read online and from some other YouTube videos, I had seen other people were having some video problems. So after doing my installation, I went and checked the different video and audio codexes, make sure that I had everything that I needed for running, my screencaster and all that kind of stuff. And I did have to do some additions, but apparently that still wasn't enough because I still had some crashes. Um, so what's the deal with that? I don't know. So as I've been playing around with this distribution, conclusion that I've come to is this is not a distribution for new users, people new to Linux. And the reason why, actually, there's a couple reasons why. First of all, um, I already explained my difficulties with the screen recorders and that, and I had to go and make sure that I had all the codexes that I needed, and even then, I still had glitches in that. Um, I knew what to look for to make sure that those applications were running. I knew the codexes that I needed, that sort of thing. Um, Somebody that would be, new to Linux distribution, they probably would not know what to look for. Another example is Chromium. I love Chrome and Chromium for web browsers. Those are, my defaults. Um, but I went to go and check out some stuff on YouTube, and I couldn't play videos because there was no Flash player included. Okay, so I needed to install Pepper Flash. Well, I knew what to look for, but anyone else, they just would get the message at YouTube that, oh, you don't have a Flash player, and you're kind of left on your own. Okay, what do I do? What do I need? Uh, so where do you go from there? And then, I found Pepper Flash in the Arch user repositories. It wasn't even in the regular Arch repository. So, uh, not, probably a new user would be totally lost, maybe get a little frustrated and whatnot. So, um, I definitely do not think that this is a distribution for new users. Um, Another thing, there was no start screen that said, "Hey, welcome to Antergos. If this is your first time here, here's a link to our website. Here's, if you want to watch Flash videos, you need to install Pepper Flash, and here's where you can get it." That sort of thing. So, uh, would I use this as my daily driver distribution? I'm going to have to say no, because with all the crashes and breakdowns and all that kind of stuff, I can't have that. This has been something neat to play with. I like Arch. I used to use Manjaro for a long time. I used Manjaro as my regular distribution, but with all the glitches that I've had here, really, you know, I could not use this as my daily driver, which is a shame too because I really like what I'm seeing here. Features are great, plenty of default applications, tons of software available in both the Arch user repositories and also the regular Arch repositories. Just I cannot have all those crashes that have been going on, and I don't have earlier I talked about that I don't have the time for doing a full Arch installation. Well, I don't have the time either for constant troubleshooting. Um, you know, my daily driver right now is Ubuntu Gnome. I installed it, and you know, other than the periodic doing updates, it's been problem free from day one. So, um, you know, why would I switch to this distribution from that? Yeah, I don't have the most recent Linux kernel, um, but you know what? I don't have crashes constantly. The constant crashes that I'm seeing here. Um, so I guess that's the trade-off. You want bleeding edge? Well, here it is, but it's going to crash on you. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. As always, leave comments, questions, all that kind of stuff down below. Be sure to subscribe if you want to keep getting this great content. And thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.